This is Harry Judd for Boxing Social. We're in the centre of Manchester at the Brooklyn Hotel. I'm joined by Spencer Oliver, Charlotte Gilley, the founder of Maverick Stars Trust, and Anthony Crolla. Spencer, just give us a lowdown on what this lunch and meet is actually for, mate, firstly.
Firstly, you didn't introduce yourself right. It's Big H, yeah? Big H, not Harry Judd, Big H.
From this week on, it is Big H. That's what I keep getting told. Yeah, definitely.
We'll do that on another time. But yeah, we're here for a celebration of Ricky Hatton's career. Ricky's boxing tonight, Marco Antonio Barrera, a little exhibition. Yes, we see the Hitman back in, and we're here, myself, Mr. Crolla. Johnny Nelson's going to arrive late, if I'm totally honest. It's always late, isn't it? It's always late, fashionably late, yeah. And we're just celebrating Ricky's career, really.
Charlotte, you do a lot of work for amateur boxing clubs across the country, a lot of amateur boxing clubs in Manchester. Ricky is, and Crolla, sat next to you, and Spencer, huge boxing icons. Just tell me how big tonight is that Ricky is now back in the ring, Charlotte.
Oh, do you want me to hold that? That's the question I don't even know the answer to. No, but I don't even know. It's not... I honestly, don't ask me that question.
But just how big Ricky?
Yeah. How big tonight is, though, for Manchester and Ricky?
It's people like Spencer, you think, and Charlotte, know you'll remember, like I was saying to just someone before when I was walking up, you'll never understand what those Ricky Hatton nights was like. Do you know, it would just be people out all day, and it'd be like people would be talking about it for weeks, and it was that big. And obviously then what he'd done to take over to Vegas, so for him to, like you say, this is an exhibition tonight, but to see him, I think everyone was just made up to see him looking so well yesterday, Joe, on the scales. And people, not these events, and sometimes, listen, I'll admit, I've been one of them in the past with certain things, but you can see Ricky's trained proper, and listen, they're going to be reasonably sensible in there, but he's just in a much, much better place than what I've seen him in years. I've heard Campbell say how proud he is of him, and it's nice, so I think it'll be pretty emotional tonight. I really do. I believe that when Ricky's walking out, I believe the butterflies will be there, but it'll also be massively emotional for him. Do you know when the old Blue Moon starts playing and whatnot? Yeah, it's going to be very emotional.
Yeah, I mean, look, I remember coming up, right, so we covered the whole of Hatton's career from day one, really, so I had some memorable nights with Ricky. He was one of those, he was the nation's sweetheart, really, wasn't he? Everyone loved Hitman Hatton because he was real, do you know what I mean? He was one of those guys that people could relate to. I remember coming up 2005 when he boxed Costa as an underdog, to be fair, because Costa was guaranteed, he was, pound for pound, one of the best boxers in the world at the time, and Hatton had a bad start to that fight, and he got rocked, and he just stuck in there, and it was just one of those nights. But you know what it was? I think they put it on late, didn't they? Because it was like early hours to suit American TV, and as Ant said, like everyone was out on the piss when he boxed from early, yeah. So you can imagine if he hadn't done a ring walk, I don't know what it was, 2 o'clock or something like that. I could see bodies falling from, like, you know what I mean, down. I'm not even joking. It was a right carnival atmosphere. It was crazy, but it was like everyone loves Hitman's the nights, the weeks that he boxed, and he took the world by storm, really. He sort of captured the imagination of not just the British public, but the world, the world's media and the world's public. So yeah, I think it's nice that we're doing this today, if I'm honest. Like, we're doing a little luncheon here, but I agree with Ant. I think it'll be very emotional today. I suppose he's just trying to put closure on his career, and I think that his lifestyle change and losing all that weight that he's lost, and he looks fantastic. He looks 10 years younger, to be fair, and it's like he needed some sort of focus, and he's found it, and now I think that's going to help him in his journey, from here on. So I just think it's going to be a lot of emotions flying around tonight, isn't there?
Are you expecting a Ricky Hatton crowd tonight? What sort of crowd are you expecting tonight, really?
No, I don't. I'm not expecting a Hatton crowd, if I'm totally honest. I mean, there's going to be people like ourselves that were around when he was boxing in there, but I think that because they're doing a joint show, really. So Ricky's boxing after the Natasha Jonas fight tonight, the Natasha Jonas show, the boxer show. And if you bought a ticket for that, which they're still available, by the way, boxer.com, you can go and get tickets. If you want to buy a ticket for that, and I'm not the promoter, by the way, so I don't get anything from that. Buy a ticket for that, and then you get to see Hatton for free. See Hatton for free. And forget that it's an exhibition. You're just going to have to appreciate the blue moon, the ring walk, and like you say, I think memories are going to come flooding back. So yeah, it's going to be wicked, mate.
What are your memories, Crolla, at boxing in the arena? It's a huge arena, the AU. What are your memories of it?
Oh, listen, for me, I grew up going to that arena, watching Ricky Hatton. Even before Ricky Hatton, I remember Naz fighting Paul Ingle. Carl Zaghi had some big nights there as well. And Brody and Jinchi and stuff like that. Like, I grew up, like, so obviously before that. But for me, it sounds cheesy, but I was watching, like, an idol of mine topping that Manchester arena. So I always wanted to do the same. So when I did box there and I did top the bill, whenever I boxed there, but certainly when I topped the bill there, I was living the dream. Do you know what I mean? I really was living the dream, and I say it like I had some amazing nights there. But and I say this all the time: there'll only ever be one Ricky Hatton, just like the song says. And the support he used to get, because he was seen as a real working class hero, and it was like, and what he did, he joined Manchester. Like, I'm Manchester City, absolutely no. The Blue Moon kills me, but Manchester, you had Reds coming to watch him. Obviously, you had the Blues coming to watch him, but it was like when you look at what he'd done to take him over to Vegas and stuff like it was mental. There's 30,000 people or something who went over to Vegas to watch him, and I remember boxing there, and I remember, you know, Robert Diaz.
Yeah.
Robert Diaz, he's a great guy and a good friend of Ricky's, and he was saying, but I'd heard it before, and they said over in Vegas, it was like New Year's Eve, 24 hours a day, because Vegas doesn't sleep as it is. And I remember Kerry Kay saying that he's in the corner tonight, and he said Crolla went, you know, in the MGM, there's a little like lobby bar there where people might meet. He said that place, he said, it didn't matter what time it was, you could not move in there. It was rammed, and it was just, but yeah, it was. I'm probably going to be off track there, but I think I seen those nights, and I just wanted something similar myself. So I got that, and the nights that I'll forever, you know, they'll be ever close to me, and I'll never get those that high ever again. And I think that's something that a boxer struggles with once they leave boxing. But you just got to be thankful for those nights. But tonight, like you say, it'll be good. It'll be good to see.
Yeah, same with you, Charlotte. What are you expecting for tonight as well?
Oh, well, I just love going to the boxing anyway. I mean, for me, it's a great night out. And I mean, Ricky wasn't boxing. When I got into boxing 10 years ago, I think he'd retired by then, had he? 10 years ago, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
But obviously, I'd heard of him, and I've come across him over the last few years with my charity, and he's a great guy, and you know, he's openly talked about his struggles himself. So to see him, the way he's changed to come back and do this tonight, it's just going to be mega.
Yeah, it's quite inspirational, isn't it?
Yeah,
if I'm honest, you know, because
yeah,
it's no secret where Ricky's been in his life. You know, he's been in some dark places. Mental health's played a big part of that as well. You know, drink, drugs, and all of that. And to see him come through that, and to see what he's like now, like you know, mentally in the place that he's in, and physically as well, it's brilliant. It's inspirational, definitely.
Charlotte, a little bit about you as well. The founder of Maverick Stars Trust. Like I said, you work with Crolla sat next to you, work with him closely. To tell me a little bit about, for people that don't know, the work that you do within boxing and amateur boxing specifically.
Yeah, so I set my charity up about 4 years ago, and it was specifically to help boxing gyms develop and pull in funding, because a lot of them find that's a struggle. There's a lot of boxes to tick, and it's not the easiest, most straightforward process. So I set my charity up to do that and help set projects up. And specifically with Anthony, obviously he had 2 clubs burned down,
yes,
did you? Yeah,
he did. In the space. Charlotte helped us massively. She did. She's playing it down. I know. I wouldn't get insured again, would I? No, the second time one was bad, wasn't it? Yeah, that was in the space of about 15 months. But no, not just me, but I'm unbelievably thankful for what she's done to the club. Like, she helped us, you know, get back on our feet and basically get the gym out. It was that simple, and I know we're one of many clubs who developed that. But even before that, I think, just away from the boxing, we was doing the free school meals, weren't we? Do you know, something very similar to what sort of Marcus Rashford done. But I think Charlotte was doing it before. But it's and during COVID, and it was like seeing that they'd either come to the gym and collect the meals, or I'd drop them off. I was a bit like a Uber Eats driver or something like that. But
it wasn't about the money, was it? It was about the time and like getting. I was organising it for you, wasn't I? And we did. I think we worked with 25 clubs over COVID, and we delivered 45,000 meals over. I can't even remember how long that first period was. Really, that the kids were out of school, but it was.
You seen it? Do you remember that day? I remember one day you seen it, and it's like it's people close where you don't think it's as bad as what it is. You know, on your doorstep, and like there's a family near the gym, and you've got it hits your hard and stuff, and I think. If these meals didn't go, I don't know what it would have, because there was made up to have them. And I thought, you don't know what goes on or what would have gone on if, Charlotte didn't help.
Was there, wasn't it? Because they were coming to the gym as well, and it was the only time they were getting out of the house. Some of them in the daytime. So that's just one part of what we do. But obviously, I was saying about Anthony's gym burning down, and he's a busy guy anyway with what he's doing, and it was just helping with time as well, isn't it? To organise things and pull a few things together that just probably speeded up the process for him to be able to open his doors again.
Do a lot for the veterans as well. She's not saying that. They do a lot for the veterans. Well, we have a veterans class. No, Alex Matvienko has a big veterans class. That is, and the show last week, that was some special show at St George's Hall. Did you ever box there, Spence? St George's Hall.
History about that as well.
Oh yeah.
In Liverpool.
I'm giving you loads today,
Liverpool.
I was the first British boxer, or the first boxer ever to box at St George's Hall. Wow. Yeah, back in
this up?
No, 1994. It was for England. It was in a multi-nations tournament, and I boxed in Italian. There you
It always
go.
ends up back with him, doesn't it? Somehow.
It always does, Spence. It always end up with you. You were gagging to get involved there.
I don't know if that means I'm a dinosaur or what, but it's facts. I'm just.
This week though, do you know when I was there? I was at the media workout for Ricky the other day in Barrera, and it was mad. And I thought, I don't know if this is making me feel really young or really old. Do you know, as I was watching him, because obviously Ricky's an idol of mine, and seeing him back doing it, and then Barrera, it was like probably the best fight I've ever seen involves Marco Antonio Barrera. I was watching it on TV when I was at school, and I just thought, this is mad. It's mad. There is a bit hard to process.
Yeah, and touching on that point about COVID, I was fortunate enough to go up to Kirkdale, and they did 12,000 meals during lockdown on their own. And similar to what you said, it was just seeing someone at the start, because a lot of people are not allowed to leave their homes, etc. And I think that was the main point of it. But in terms of your trust at this point in time, what is the current project or thing you're currently doing at the moment?
I think there's a lot going on with women's projects at the moment, and I think it's been great in the last few weeks about women's boxing's been highlighted with Savannah's fight, hasn't it, which was incredible. That so many more women are coming into boxing, aren't they? And we have our own ambassador, who's Chantal Cameron, who's just been Unified.
Unified.
Lightweight.
Magazine, super lightweight.
Super lightweight.
It was super lightweight, wasn't it? Yeah.
And a girl on GB called Kerry Davies, who's hopefully going to be at the Olympics in a couple of years, and she's going to help me run some projects involving women who are vulnerable. We've worked doing projects with domestic violence groups of women, but I mean we just do such a wide range of things, but women is a hot topic at the moment.
Just picking this back up then, the Winterbox Cup as well, I don't know if you are aware of that competition, so you're not involved in that one, but just tell me about some of the ambassadors that work with your trust. I know Jamie Moore's an ambassador, Chantel, Nigel Travis as well. Just go through some of the ambassadors and what they do for you.
Okay, so Nigel and Jamie were two of the people I first met, really, when I set my charity up by accident. It was just by accident we met them. So they became ambassadors, and I actually opened a gym with Jamie in Walkden in Salford, which is Jamie's hometown. He wanted to set an amateur club up there to give back to the community, because there isn't one anymore. I think there used to be one or two in that area, but they've shut down, so there wasn't any amateur club within a certain area, and he was really wanting to do that. So I helped him, again, similar to what I did with Anthony, just helped him dot the I's and cross the T's, really, so we could get a lease for a unit and just get it all set up. And that's been running for the last 3 years now, and we have about 150 young people come through there each week.
Yeah, and same with that one. I spoke to Nigel and he mentioned you've been helping him out with funding and helping him develop his own gym as well. Moss Side, again, a fantastic historic gym in Manchester, that one.
Yeah. I mean, what Nigel's created there is amazing. It's come from nothing to what he's created. But he needs a bigger space. And again, it's just more issues of dealing with councils and funding. So I've got involved there again and just helped pull all that together. And he started building, I think, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they've got the external structures nearly there now. So that's gone up really quickly. I mean, I am involved with the project in Timpley, which is very, very similar, and that's been going 5 years. And we put a spade in the ground 3 months ago, and that's another story. But they're just battles, a lot of these things, and they shouldn't be when all people are trying to do is do good. They're not a money-making thing. They're just what people wanting to put their time into helping the kids in the community.
Spencer, Anthony, you've both been through the amateur system. How important is this type of work that goes on? How important is it that we keep these clubs thriving and putting more development in than Spence?
Listen, grassroots, boxing doesn't exist without grassroots, does it? And that's, I think that's the hardest stage. If you look around the country with the amateur boxing gyms around the country and the funding that they have to do themselves, they have to put on shows just to keep places open. A lot of them do close because they haven't got the funding. So, with what Charlotte does, helping the grassroots of the sport helps, kids go on and develop and become pros and become world champions. And, so it's massively important. Maverick Stars Trust sponsors our podcast as well. They're partners in our podcast, helps that going. It just creates awareness, and I think that's really important. So, it's massively important. The whole thing doesn't exist without the foundations. The foundations are the grassroots, amateur boxing, and that's what Charlotte's supporting. So it's massively important.
And yeah, same thing to you, Anthony, obviously with Fox ABC, for example.
Amateur boxing, it does it, but saves many lives, but also betters so many lives. I think Charlotte's seeing where the gym is. It's not in the nicest part of town. It's like on the middle of a balmy estate. But even like some of the kids now, and you'd come in on the free sessions or the funded sessions or like that, and then they come in, and now they're part of the club, and they've just changed as young people. Like, they might have come in at first with a bit of an attitude, or like they come in now and they're just one of the lads or girls, and it's just like, oh, you all right? Let on to everyone, and they just seem different. And I think boxing I see it all the time. I don't know about Spence, Charlotte. I never see any bullying go on in boxing gyms. I really don't, because they get found out, and I really mean that. But I think it just makes them more respectful people. I really do. Listen,
those sessions, sorry to interrupt, just to remind you, those sessions Anthony was talking about, these free sessions that you put on, they put on in a marquee outside, because you had no gym, and there was no heating in it, was there?
So
it
was bolted, but they were still turning up, and it gives them something sort of to get away from, and sometimes you don't know what's going on at home, so it gives them that little bit of togetherness. I think
it teaches the life skills, though, doesn't it? Like boxing, you get the bullies that go in the gyms and whatnot, and kids without any confidence, but it's life skills. It teaches like discipline, to respect people, self-respect. It teaches you all the, so out of boxing, if they become boxers or if they don't become boxers, it sends people on the right path, because, like I say, it teaches all those skills that you need in life. So that's how important it is,
Away from this, just quickly, while we finish, before we started talking, it is all about you, Spence, all the time. You mentioned that you've released a single or a song. Just tell us a little bit about that, mate.
I don't like to keep dropping these. Today seems to be one.
I've been on about it for half an hour before we started.
It's been one of those days, mate. It's like, it's there. It's out there, mate. It's We Will Stand, Fighters Forever. It's you had a little listen to it. It's all right, actually.
Some vocals are really strong on it. Spencer being one of them. But it's definitely download it, listen, and let it climb the charts.
Quickly, who was involved in that one before we finish? Who was involved in that song, other than yourself, Spence, being the lead singer?
Tony Mortimer from E17, he was one of the main people in it. Enzo Calzaghe actually wrote the song. Enzo Calzaghe wrote the song. Joe Calzaghe was involved, Lennox Lewis was involved, Lloyd Hunnigan was involved. Who else was there? What's he doing there?
Yeah, I mean, can we do a Christmas No.1 campaign? That's what we're asking. Get this to Christmas No.1. If people would download this song, share it.
To raise money for Maverick Trust.
To raise money for Maverick Trust. I think that is a great idea, Spence.
It's an absolute banger, but I want to put Crolla's vocals in there, because I've heard him sing. He can sing. Good. Just give us a line. Give us a line, Anne. Just give us a line.
Go on.
But if it's for a
This
good
is a good look, raise money and get us #1 for Maverick Styles Trust. I think there's no better idea for that. I think we're all in for that one. We're all in for that one.
We're all over it, mate. Let's do it. Let's do it. We should do. We should redo it. Maybe, you know. I mean, I feel that my vocals are actually better now than they was back then. You know.
Guys, we'll enjoy tonight, but again, thanks on to Boxing Social, and we'll catch up soon, yeah? Thanks a lot.